Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to Get Hit with the Truth. So today we are doing the 2023 top 10s, and this is on the 126-pound featherweight division. This is the fighters that are on the bubble. And before we get into that, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel, I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I continue to build my channel here. So what does on the bubble mean? On the bubble for me means that these fighters are just outside of the top 10, or they are highly rated by a governing body, or they have a big name, or they have an opportunity coming at them next that's going to give them a chance to, bust into the top 10. So that's how I view these. This is a new thing. I've never done this before. It's my first year doing the on the bubbles. Because, like I said, these are guys that could end up busting into the top 10. And you should know who they are. We start off with Raya Abe from Japan. He's the IBF's #1 ranked contender. He defeated Kiko Martinez this year by a decision. And that's what bolstered him into the rankings, highly into the rankings. His opportunity is good to go. March 2nd, I think it's March 2nd or March 3rd, he is going to return to challenge for his first world title when he battles reigning IBF champion Luis Alberto Lopez. This one's significant because even though he's coming in an underdog, even though I'm going to pick against him in this fight, I believe Lopez beats him. But if he pulls off this upset, I absolutely believe that Naoya Inoue, the monster, will stop in his tracks and potentially move up to 126 to challenge Abe for the title. Because it'd be a huge all-Japan fight, and Inoue would be trying to win a championship in a 5th weight class, a weight class that he's planning on moving up to anyways. So, a strong performance here, because Lopez is ranked high in the division, a strong performance out of Abe or an upset victory will get him into the top 10. Next up is Otabek Kolmatov. Kolmatov is currently the WBA's #1 ranked contender, and he hasn't really done much yet, but he's the mandatory challenger, and his opportunity is coming in early March on the same card as Abe and Lopez when Kolmatov battles Raymond Ford for the vacant WBA featherweight championship, as Lee Wood gave up the belt in order to move up to 130 and fight there. So Kolmatov, I believe he's like 12-0 with 11 knockouts, is coming into this fight. He's the favorite over Ford. I'm picking him to beat Ford, and if he does, he's a top-ranked guy, and there's going to be opportunities abound because, one, he'll be the world champion, but two, Rafael Espinosa and Luis Alberto Lopez also are top-ranked guys. So the opportunity will be there for Kolmatov to potentially unify belts. So a victory over Ford, in my opinion, probably guarantees him a top 10 spot. Then there's Raymond Ford, who is the undefeated WBA #2 contender right now. Ford has a controversial victory over Edward Vasquez before, and he's taken on Kolmatov for the vacant belt. He's not a big power guy, but he's a boxer, and he has the opportunity to win the world title as well, and a victory puts him in contention to potentially unify belts as well. So a victory over Kolmatov in early March can get him into the top 10. Then there's Arnold Kgai, who is the WBO's #1 ranked contender. Kgai hasn't really done much to this point, but he is ranked #1 in the WBO, and the WBO has not had a mandatory fight for the title since Robeisy Ramirez defeated Isaac Dogbe for the vacant belt in April of last year. There have been 2 optional defenses since, so the WBO could order newly crowned champion Rafael Espinosa to battle Kgai next for the title. If they do not, and let's say a rematch happens between Espinosa and Ramirez for the title, which a lot of people think there's a potential rematch there. I think Kgai might be ordered to fight undefeated Nick Ball for the mandatory spot, and a win over Ball, who beat Isaac Dogbe, could get K-Guy in. So K-Guy definitely there, and I definitely think he's going to get some kind of opportunity to move in line for a title because of where he's ranked. So we'll see. Then there's former world title challenger Ruben Villa. Villa is number 2 in the WBC right now. He's marched back since his loss to Emmanuel Navarrete, where he really did a lot better than people give him credit for, or people maybe forgot about. He fought his ass off against Navarrete back in 2019, or might have been 2020, for the vacant featherweight title, and came up just short after getting put down early in the fight. Ruben Villa, actually from Salinas, not too far from where I live, is right there. He's the WBC's number 2 contender. I believe right now, I forget who the number 1 contender is in the WBC currently. I know Brandon Figueroa is the WBC interim champion. So Villa may or may not get a title shot this year, but I definitely think he's in an eliminator at some point against the top guy, which might be Nick Ball from the United Kingdom. And if he gets that fight and he can get a victory, Ruben Villa is not only in the top 10, but he's knocking on the door of a title shot potentially in 2025. So we'll see. Then there's Larate Diamani, who's the IBF's number 2 contender right now. Diamani hasn't really done anything yet, but he is highly ranked by the IBF. And with Raya Abe challenging Luis Alberto Lopez in March in a mandatory fight, Diamani might be put in against the next highest rated challenger to fight for the mandatory spot towards the middle to end of the year or sometime soon, to get in line with him being ranked that high, which could give him an opportunity to bust into the top 10. Then there's Sergio Sanchez, who's the WBO's number 2 contender. I believe he's undefeated. Don't quote me on that, but I believe he's undefeated. And as I said earlier, I might have gotten it wrong. I apologize. He is right there to potentially challenge for the mandatory spot at the WBO title. He might have to go through Arnold K-Guy, who's the number 1 contender first, and then maybe get the winner of Espinosa and Ramirez if they rematch for the WBO belt. If not, and K-Guy gets the mandatory shot, then I at least believe that Sergio Sanchez, as long as he holds his spot down and continues to win, could be fighting middle to end of the year for the WBO's mandatory number 1 spot, and which could bust him into the 10. And then finally, the final guy I put on the bubble was former unified junior featherweight champion Stephen Fulton Jr. Fulton hasn't officially moved up to 126, but he's being ranked by the governing bodies, and he's number 3 by the WBO right now, which means I could potentially see him and Diamante maybe fighting for the top spot to get a shot at the WBO title at some point. If not here, Stephen Fulton, just with his name, I also think there's an opportunity if Brandon Figueroa beats Ray Vargas for the WBC title in the first half of the year, and Fulton officially makes his debut at 126 and is victorious. I do believe there's a chance that we see a rematch between Figueroa and Fulton for the WBC featherweight title, because remember, Figueroa was not too happy that he lost to Fulton, and he feels a lot better at 126. That's a major reason why that rematch didn't happen, because Figueroa did not want the rematch to take place at 122. So I do believe if he becomes champ, then Fulton could be getting a crack at Figueroa for the title. So that's it. Those are the guys on the bubble that I think have an opportunity to bust into the top 10 at featherweight here. I do want to mention an outside option in Naoya anyway, if he decides to move up sometime during the year based on what happens at featherweight. From 122, he could definitely do that. And outside of that, that's it. Those are the guys. That is my 2023 top 10s for the 126-pound featherweight division. The fighters that are on the bubble are potentially busting into the top 10. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.